From the pump shotgun having infinite range to the Zapatron being able to one-shot players across the map, Epic Games has definitely had its struggles when it comes to balancing weapons in Fortnite. So today, we're going to be going over the top 10 most overpowered items in the history of Fortnite. Number 10, the minigun. A lot of people don't remember this, but back in the day, you could carry up to 1,000 of each type of ammunition. And when the minigun came out, it had absolutely no cooldown feature. So you could dump 1,000 bullets into your opponent without having to stop and reload even one time. Pair this with the fact that at the time when it came out, people barely knew how to build or protect themselves, and this gun was a force to be reckoned with. Number 9, the plasma cannon. This gun came into the game when box fighting was first taking over the meta. Unfortunately, this gun did not care about that meta. This was the first and only gun to ever exist in Fortnite that could tear apart an entire 1x1 and eliminate your opponent with only one bullet. No one was ever safe while this gun was in the game. Number 8, the P90. You think the P90 is strong right now? When this thing first came out, it could hold 50 bullets per magazine. This thing absolutely melted through builds and players. It was so strong, people wouldn't even pick up an AR or a shotgun. They would quite literally just carry as many P90s as they could get their hands on. Number 7, the mechs. The mechs came out in Chapter 1, Season X, and this was around the time that you started to see a serious skill gap being created. It was really becoming impossible for new players to keep up with anyone who was even moderately good at the game. But Epic is on an endless mission to help new players get wins so they continue to play the game. And as we know, the way they do that today is by putting bots in the game. But back then, their answer to this was giant super OP rocket shooting robots. These things were so broken that you could literally win a game with your eyes closed. And I mean literally. Tim the Tatman won a game with a mech with his monitor turned off. Number 6, the drum gun. This thing shot as fast as an SMG, did as much damage per bullet as an assault rifle, and held 50 bullets in the magazine. The drum gun was so impactful to the game that when it first released, it actually created its own meta. For the first time, we've seen players stop picking up shotguns and instead carrying 2 and sometimes even 3 SMGs at a time. This was the birth of the first spray and pray meta to ever exist in Fortnite, and for anyone who played in Chapter 1 Season 4, this will probably give them nightmares for the rest of their life. Number 5, the explosive goo gun. This was like a more annoying grenade launcher. It completely deleted buildings, builds, vehicles, players. It was overall just way too powerful. The worst is when you get hit with it and there was that split second before it exploded where there was nothing you could do. You were just covered in goo. Your fate was sealed and you were just awaiting your trip back to the lobby. Number 4, the boogie bomb. Now, while the boogie bomb that exists in the game today is pretty powerful, it pales in comparison to its original form. The boogie bomb that we know today forces players to dance for 5 seconds, but the effects can be canceled if they take any form of damage. The original boogie bomb not only made players dance for 10 seconds, double the current boogie bomb's time, but there was no way to cancel the effects. Even if you took damage, you were still stuck dancing for the full 10 seconds. This thing was a death sentence. Number 3, the X4 Stormwing plane. So this technically isn't an item, it's a vehicle, but I had to add it to the list. This thing is super OP. And if the only time you ever experienced the Stormwing was during the OG season, that was like the Little Tykes version of the Stormwing. The original Stormwing had no gas gauge to it, so it would last forever as long as you didn't blow it up. And usually it wouldn't, because people were too scared to shoot at you, because if they did, you could just completely annihilate them. The guns on this thing were decently accurate and they did hit pretty hard, but honestly, the best way to use the Stormwing was just to fly right into people. This thing could tear through builds and it would send people flying and falling to their death. But you did have to watch out for people hopping onto the wing and shotgunning you in the side of the head. Number 2, the MK7 assault rifle. Now, I don't necessarily think that the MK7 is a super unbalanced balanced weapon, but when it released, it was the first time that an insanely fast and insanely accurate assault rifle existed in Fortnite. Before this, every assault rifle had bloom to it, so even the best aimers in the world couldn't laser you from 200 to 0 from far away. This gun really did have a huge impact and changed the way that people played the game. Before we reveal number 1, I just want to give a shout out to the top 5 most honorable mentions who weren't quite strong enough to make the official list. Honorable mention number 1, the heavy sniper rifle, the strongest sniper to ever exist in the game. Honorable mention number 2, the heisted breacher shotgun. Not only did this thing hit super hard, have incredible range, but it could also destroy building walls with only 1 bullet. Honorable mention number 3, the combat shotgun, one of the only shotguns to ever give the pump a run for its money. Honorable mention number 4, the OG Scar. This thing used to do 98 headshot damage. And our last honorable mention, the drum shotgun. This thing was a complete nightmare. And the number 1 most overpowered item to ever exist in Fortnite, the Infinity Blade. Not only is this absolutely the most broken item to ever exist in the game of Fortnite, but for some reason, Epic Games decided to release it right before one of the biggest tournaments they have ever hosted, the Winter Royale. Now, today, Epic is smart enough to leave some of the more broken items out of the competitive loot pool, but back then, it was a total and complete free-for-all. This tournament was a complete mess, and while there were some other contributing factors to that, the chaos that this item caused will never be forgotten. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the top 10 most overpowered items to ever exist in Fortnite. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more Fortnite content, and I will catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.